What is match committee like for people that don't know, that just, they see the coaches rolled out and a big bunch of you sitting in the coaches box and, great coaching today. What about match committee? Inside match committee, not Hawthorn, use West Coast if you like. What do you do in there? You're in there a long time. What are you guys doing?
Well, Sam Frost, one of our Hawthorn current players, he came Monday last week, and he came to match committee and he sat there. And at the end, I said, what'd you learn today? He goes, I should definitely eat before I come to this meeting next week. Because we've been in there 3 hours and he hadn't had breakfast or whatever. So
I've heard stories about lengthy match committees. What takes the most time?
Post-game, match committee personally, as the coach, my match committees are reasonably brief.
Yes.
But post game, they put the agenda up, and it's a nightmare. You got to do the coaches' votes for the coaches' association. Then you do offense, defense, stoppages, forwards, backs, mids, any scenarios that you went into, any GPS reporting, the VFL. Reserves report, rating of every player and their feedback to make sure you're aligned, because I don't want to go and say, hey, I thought you played really well, and then the line coach say the opposite. So getting alignment on what happened in the game, plus what are we going to review today? What do the players need to learn? How can we make them better this week? What environment do we want to create for them? Do we want them to be a bit edgy, or would we like them to have some joy this week? Setting up the week early, one of my philosophies is around, if you have 8 hours to cut down a tree, spend 6 hours sharpening your axe. I think it's Richard Nixon.
That's
you might be able to check that.
It's quite good.
Just claim it.
Charlie,
that's yours.
But you are, if you're well prepared, then your week can roll out quite smoothly. So I usually, we have quite lengthy meetings the first day or two, and then it's pretty smooth after that. Our match committee. The part that everyone's interested in is selection, and I'd be lying if we had one meeting where, okay, we picked the team today. Normally you have a vague idea. We know this guy's coming in. There's a couple of guys could go out. We'll see how that falls, see if anyone breaks down. So, for instance, at this week I've got a guy coming in, but I don't really want to take anyone out. So I go to the trainers and say, all right, we just need to train them hard enough to break one, and then we'll be okay.
It's a little bit for our listeners.
It's a little bit facetious, but it's also sometimes it happens and you're like, oh, that's good.
You don't have to let someone down. Perhaps.
Yeah, exactly.
What about, are there heated debates between, I have no idea what they look like, so I'm just imagining in my head a picture of a guy on the table and there's one person arguing for their case and someone else is out. Do you ever just have to yield and go, cool, all right, and just accept the decision?
Yeah, of course. It doesn't get to heated debate too often. Usually it's my call at the end of the day, but most of the time rely on the line coach. So if there's a position available and it's a winger, then you go to Robert Harvey and say, okay, this is the position that you're going to be the guy that plays there. The thing that the head coach has is sometimes the head coach has got the longest view in the room. So, for instance, early draft picks or players that you've got really high hope for, or that are injury prone and that are feeling good and in some decent form, if you want to get them a run, they might not help you the most that week. So you do need to try to sum up. There's always performance versus development in a match committee, and sometimes it's the coach's job to even out whatever the rest of the group is thinking.
What about when you blokes dropped me for the 2018 final series? What happened in that match committee?
It was pretty unanimous.
Then someone went down and it made that decision easier.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. He's like, we can.
That was one of those ones where, okay, who was coming back? Is it Shep ended up hurting himself?
It's actually Jets.
Yeah, so Jet, we were a bit tall and cumbersome in the back end, and
it was always a favourite of the coaching committee. We're a bit tall this week.
Well,
even though I could play small, did so for my whole career. A bit tall this week. It's
it's
just an excuse.
Have you got over that or not?
No, absolutely not.
Like it. You did play in the one that mattered.
Yes, I know. But not thanks to you.
Not my area.
Yeah,
I'm a
correct.
midfield coach.